I moved back to the US after living abroad for 8 years and could not find a place to stay. The only place that looked promising without a credit check, a deposit, was a homeless shelter. We literally had to show 50 times the rent, W 2s, paycheck stubs, all of this crazy stuff. And the rent to a lot of these apartments were thousands of dollars. Mind you, we moved abroad, didn't have to have any of that. Found places for $400 and $500, 4 bedroom, 2 baths, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathroom homes for less than $1,000, and did not have to show any credit, W 2s, bank statements, or anything. Literally paid 2 months deposit and 1 month's rent, and we were given the keys that day. And more people need to be talking about this.
Hello, I'm Pat.
And I'm Renita.
Welcome to God, Grace, and
And
Ghana.
Ghana.
Well, as you can see, that young lady was very unhappy with her move back to the United States. She spit some knowledge and information out there, which we are trying to share with you continuously. And we are not the only one that have noticed the high prices of America. She just told you that she moved back to America after 8 years abroad and found out that the prices here is shocked to her and her family and her husband to find out that what she moved away from. Now listen, she said she could get a 4 bedroom, 2 bath apartment, a living quarters. I'm not sure if she said apartment or house, but living dwelling for $500 a month. She said when she got here, she could not find nothing remotely
And she won't.
for 4 bedrooms, 2 bath for $500 a month.
Not even a 1 bedroom.
It was. Then she said all the stuff she had to do to be qualified. They had to show credit scores. Had to do show amount of. Had to, I think she said come up with 10 times for deposit. She had to come up with this and come up with that. That's what she said. Might be New York. I don't know, baby. We'll have to do it here. But she had to do 10 times deposit. Uh, and all these other hoops she had to jump through just to get qualified for the apartment, which she had to pay $3,000 for to live in. It is true that the expense here in America, as far as living dwellings, is a lot more expensive than you can find. Again, not just in Africa, in a lot of places. We are, I was gonna say not saying that you should move to Africa. You really should. But we are saying not just Africa only. We are proponents of moving away from America.
In this new era, people not working two jobs and a side hustle because they want to. They doing it because they have to. I'm talking about Gen X, Gen Z, all of us together. We cannot stop. In this video, I'm gonna give you the unadulterated truth why it's worse here working in America. Okay, yeah, back in the day, you could work for 20 or 30 years and have something to show for it. At least your house will be paid off. But no, we don't have that now. People got to take out second mortgages just to survive. People feel like they can't even take a day off no matter how many hours they work. People are working longer because they don't have enough money to retire. It's just not enough. Look, it's people from all socio-economic backgrounds, teachers, professors, people who work minimum wage. All of us are in this together. Just don't think it's just people with low income. I was talking to a professor the other day and he told me how hard it was for him. He told me he hopes his body hold out because he know he's going to have to work at least to the age of 75, and that don't make no sense. And we live in one of the greatest countries in the world, but we don't have health insurance. I know people that's working a full-time job and a side hustle, and they can't even afford to go to the doctor. Paying for prescriptions put them in the hole because it's just too much, and don't have 2 and 3 children. A trip to the ER can bankrupt a family. It can bankrupt the individual. And millions of jobs do not offer health care. I was looking it up, y'all, and 53% of companies don't offer health insurance to working Americans. And even when they do offer it, people can't even afford the premiums. And that's why your coworkers keep coming into work when they're sick and infected with upper respiratory infections, and then you come home and bring it to your family because they can't even take off. And let's not forget, some people, they take off for a sick day and they don't get paid. So that's why they still coming to work. We in the greatest country in the world, y'all, and people can't even take vacations. 28 million Americans get zero paid vacations and holidays. Make that make sense.
Okay, as you can see, the person here main thing is just the expense of America. Basically, you have to work 9 to 5, 5, 6 days a week, sometimes 80 hours, a week, sometimes 60 hours a week. Basically, Americans are working themselves to death and they're not getting ahead. She's talking about how they say if you work hard in America, if you strive, you do this, then you can get the American dream. But she's saying the American dream is unattainable for the average person nowadays. That Americans, all we do now is just work, 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 go to sleep sometime on the weekends, get up on Monday, work, work, work again. True, you can have a boat, and some Americans, have a decent sized house and a decent sized this and that, but you always at work, you can't enjoy them. What use is a boat that you can never ride because you're at work all the time? What use is a TV with 150, 200 channels and you can never be home to watch TV? What use is all these conveniences and things which a lot of people charge because they don't have enough money to buy them outright and put themselves in debt, and that's another vicious cycle we could talk about. And all this to work yourself to the bone and never really enjoy the life that you're living in America. At some point, you have to realize that life is more than trying to just make it and work yourself to death. Life is meant to be enjoyed. And that's the piece that Americans are missing out on.
You can't even afford to retire here.
There you go.
I mean, people are having to go back to work. They retired. They have to go back to work just to survive.
That she said, okay, then you have to work to 75, 80 years old. She said people retire at 70, find themselves back in the workforce, and they ended up working at 78, 79, whatever, another 7 years or something, because when they retire, they realize, oh, I can't afford retirement. Now, the last part that is very stressful to Americans, this lady points out very well, and we're going to look at her points and come back, and we're going to close out the video.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living on the average American salary? I just watched a TikTok of a teacher who makes a teacher's salary. I don't know what state she's in, so I don't know how much she makes, but her one-bedroom apartment is $2,000. And when she spends $2,000 on that one-bedroom apartment, it doesn't even come with a washer and dryer. So she has to go pay an additional $2 every time she wants to use their washer and dryer. Okay, how does that leave her any extra money to spend? And then she said she had a $400 car payment, which some people were bashing her on that. But in today's economy with interest rates, that's really not that bad. And I'm sure she needs a dependable car. So you talk about teacher's salary, $2,000 in rent, $400 car payment. You got insurance, you got groceries, electricity. I don't understand how people are affording life right now, and it really makes me sad for some people. You have people who are like her. She's single, she has her own salary, or families where it just works out best for them for the mother to stay home. And if the father is just making an average American salary, how are they affording life without going in a bunch of debt? This lady who's a teacher started crying because she said she realizes on her salary and where she lives, she will actually end up in more debt. Then she will just continue to accrue more debt and more debt and more debt because her salary is not matching the cost of living. And what's sad is I've seen people be like, just spend less. Listen, guys, the cost of living is rising and our salaries are stagnant. Okay, so there's not just spend less. That's not the problem here. The problem is the cost of living is outrageous, and minimum wage in some states is still $7.25. Teachers in some states are still paid a ridiculously low salary, even though their job is super important. I don't know what we can do about this, but I'm just going on a rant because it really, really pisses me off.
I give up. I have worked so hard, literally. I went to school for 10 years for a higher education that doesn't do me any good. I've been working 2 jobs in restaurants for 2 years, 50 hours a week for nothing. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, I'm getting evicted next week after my son almost died in the end of March with diabetes. And now he has type 1 diabetes. And dealing with that, and then my grandma had a stroke 10 days after that. And now I'm behind on my $2,500 a month rent that I can't work enough to catch up.
Okay, basically what she's talking about is what me and my wife like to refer as life happens. You can't afford to get sick. You can't afford for your car to break down. You can't, because most people are check to check. So we're not talking about going out and having a bunch of vacations or spending money at Vegas or spending money enjoying yourself. No, a lot of Americans find themselves strapped to the point that if anything happens, we got Medicaid, Medicare. These are medical assistance programs for people who cannot afford these high prices in America. If these programs were cut out, you would have a lot of Americans that would fail to, they would make it. Their loved ones would really pass away. They would die of cancer. They would die of dementia, whatever else they're suffering from, because it's so expensive to get sick in America. Okay, so a lot of people look and they say, "Oh, look at the beautiful big $1 million hospital, multi-billion hospital you got. Look at these nice rooms. Look at this nice this. Look at this nice that. Look at it. Yeah, they're gonna charge you $1,000, $2,000 a night stay in that room," which me and my wife we are firm believers in because America's a capitalistic society and they're so greedy now. It used to be a time a doctor would come to your house and do this and bedside manner and all this. Now people just are about money. Sad to say, you do have good doctors out there like every other field, but for the most part, as a rule, people are concerned about money. What I mean by this, I'm convinced that even when you are healthy, they'll keep you extra couple of days because they could charge your insurance $2,000 a night to keep you in that room.
And the sad thing is, if you really need to stay there and your insurance won't pay it, they want you out. It's sad. It's all about the money. It's not
Yeah.
about the care.
Yes, it's not about the care in America. You see, and I said this, all this culminates to one word: people that's stressed, people that are unhappy, people that are worried about their futures because they say, "Oh man, I can't retire," and then people worried about just worry. You know what? Worry.
Okay, when is your now's my time to get out moment? Like now's the time to now I'm gonna leave. Like when is your this is the moment? Like is it when they start arresting journalists? Like when is it? Guys, like for us, it was a year ago. It was a year ago. And it took us about 9 months beginning to end to get out of the country. So if you are thinking about possibly leaving, or if you have a way to possibly get out, or you want to start researching and looking into ways to maybe leave, do it now. The best time was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Start now. Because look at what's been going on and all the crazy things that have happened. We moved in April, and I cannot believe the amount of insane things that have been happening in the last 3 months alone. Imagine where we're going to be 3 months from now.
The rat race that is living in the United States. This culture of workaholics, this culture of trauma bonding, this culture of stress and anxiety being the norm. Y'all, that's not supposed to be normal. Me and my husband did not realize how stressed out we were until we left the United States. We decided we wanted to live a slower life. We wanted to live a more peaceful life. We wanted to live a life where people actually had community. We wanted to live a life where people actually went outside and everybody wasn't just addicted to screens. And y'all, I'm telling you, our mental, physical, spiritual health has never been better. If you want to leave the United States in 2025, I promise it is
People
possible.
walk around America worried all the time about something. If my car break down, am I gonna make my next bill? If such and such get sick, I'm worried. It's so stressful here. But I have seen people who go overseas, who go and live a life full of free of that stress, free of all this commotion, because it's not like that everywhere. And if that's the case, in my opinion, America is the true third world country, and not some of these places that they claim to be third world countries. Well, I hope that video has been informational as well. Please like, share, and subscribe. We love you with godly love, and we are trying to get the information out there to people. Yes, go in our comment section and share with us your thoughts and opinions of this. We know everyone will not agree with all our points. That's okay. We are just trying to give our opinions and point of views, and not ours only, as you can see, uh, and we hope that will help some of y'all think. One more thing before I close. Think about where you will retire. Spend your retirement days, which is one of my major points here of the videos that we shoot. Maybe you can't leave here now if you're in your 40s or whatever, but we really implore people who are at the retirement state or the retirement age to really think about abroad.
It'll be affordable.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Renita. Bye.